Hello everybody and welcome to my first tutorial series on YouTube, yay! This is in Train Simulator, as you probably can see. We are going to be creating a scenario in Train Simulator because the Train Simulator editors, they're good and they're powerful, but they're complicated, and I'm going to guide you through step by step what happens, how to create a good and engaging scenario. So let's jump right in. First step is quite simply open your Train Simulator in however you open it. Open your Train Simulator. Right, so when you've done that, you then go to the Build tab and you just let it happen, and then there's three tabs here. So you've got the route, the scenario, and the publish. We're not worrying about the route today. We're not worrying about the route in this series. We will be in a later series when we create route. We're not going to worry about the publish in this episode. That comes at the end for publishing it to Steam Workshop, if you've got the Steam edition, that is. Anyways, we're going to go to the scenario tab. Now you get a list. Don't ignore that scenario. That was when I was going crazy, and I created it with the Academy route rather than the Chiltern Mainline route. But yeah, so what it actually is it gives you a list of the routes. No. But if you click on any route, it gives you a list of all the scenarios. So, for example, for the 5 circle line, and it categorizes them into the different types of scenarios. So you have standard scenarios, career scenarios, quick drive scenarios, free roam scenarios for some ones like this one. Lots of free roams here for the Metropolitan line. Timetable scenarios. So yeah, we're going to choose the so we're going to go up. So basically what happens is when you click on a route, it opens it expands the list of all the scenarios for that are on that route. So we're gonna make this one on the Chatham Main Line. I recommend first you not copy me. I mean, watch these videos and take the learning points. You can make your scenario on this. You can make your scenario exactly the same as me if you want to, but I really recommend doing is watching these videos. Watching this video, and as you do, picking up the learning points, and then applying those to your own scenario. So you learn some of the things yourself, and that's really important, I think. So yeah, I'm not going to click on any of these scenarios. There's some of these are odd, but like all my workshop collections are not finished. Anyway, so we're going to go new scenario. We wait for it to load. Here we are. So there's some things we need to change here to choose. So number one is what we're going to call this scenario. I'll just call it tutorial scenario. Smiley face. And then we're going to choose the type of scenarios. There's 5 types of scenarios. You've got the free roam, standard, timetable, career, quick drive. We're making a career scenario in this, so you can earn points and stuff. Quick drive scenarios are a whole nother thing. For the standard and timetable scenarios, you can apply most of the stuff in terms of timetabling the trains and stuff. Free roam scenario is so easy. You literally just put the trains down, and then there's just one other step, which so yeah, we're going to then we've given it a name. We've told it what type of scenario it's going to be. Now we need to choose this location, and what this is where it's the location So the location you choose is where, one, you will first be spawned into the scenario editor, and two is where when you play the scenario is where it first loads. So if you set the for example, if you set the location as London Victoria, but then you started the scenario down in I don't know, let's say Raynham, it wouldn't, you just load into this thing of whiteness. So think about where it's starting. I'm going to start it at Swanley and we're going to go down to Rochester. That's the plan for this. Always have a game plan of what you want from the scenario. Where are you going? What do you want? Because that's very important. If you don't have that, you will probably go wrong somewhere, because you don't know what you're trying to achieve by pressing this create button. So when you've chosen your stuff, click create, and then it automatically starts loading you into the editor. So you wait for that. It's pretty nice pictures on these loading screens. I have to say that they're really good. This one's nice. So yeah, you let it load. And so just an overview of what this is going to be. So okay, right, let's I'll do the overview first. So in this tutorial series, we'll be creating our own scenario, and we'll be applying lots of clever tricks to make a very engaging scenario, a playable scenario that you can also publish to Steam Workshop, if you have the Steam version, that is. So there'll be lots of things we learn in this, which you can then go away and apply to your own scenarios, and who knows, if you're releasing these on Steam Workshop, you could become a community renowned creator. And another important thing is that when you're doing these, never be afraid to experiment. Experimenting is good. You could create a scenario and you can call it experiment, and you literally just experiment with whatever you want to do, and then you learn about those kinds of features. We're only going to cover the basic features to create an engaging and playable scenario, but if you want, there'll then be an advanced tutorial at some point when I'm a little more advanced, because I'm kind of intermediate, I'd say. But if you wanted to learn some of these features, some of the more advanced features for yourself, then you can always just find your favourite route, create a scenario, call it experiment, and you can just go and from time to time experiment with different features of the editor, and then you can apply those to any other scenarios you're creating. And yes, so I think it's really important that you experiment when you're doing this. Obviously, try not to break it. Don't worry, if you break it, it's fine. These are early days, but also I wouldn't really recommend experimenting too much in this for the scenario that you're making with this, because just if you pick up the teaching points from this and you use those, that's what is important. And then you can go, and after you finish watching this series of videos, go and experiment with your own stuff. And so anyway, we're in the scenario editor. You've probably been staring at this for ages. If you're wondering why that was yellow and then it went white, basically, if you're hovering over it, if you're hovering over anything that's to do with the scenario editor, it goes yellow. I'm not going to click on it yet, and there's reasons, which is this stuff. This panel here. Oh yeah, really important. I'll show you in a sec, but this panel here, name. So what does it have? The name. So that's quite self-explanatory. It's when you swim through what you see. Then you get the description, which is when you click on it, at the bottom there's like, it tells you about the scenario. It's like if you were to click below this video for the description. It's literally that. Briefing is when you're in the scenario, and if you press the F1 key, and it gives you a list of all your different tasks, but at the top it also gives you a briefing. Now, at the moment we're not going to change this. I recommend changing this stuff at the start, and we are going to change this actually. And the reason I do this is because it helps you actually to get your game plan. Remember I talked about game plan only a few minutes ago. It helps to get that game plan down and solid and saved, because this is saved when you first press save, which I'll show you how to do soon. This is saved to your computer, so you have that game plan down. So if you then go away and come back tomorrow, you still have that game plan there when you come into the scenario editor, because you see this panel and you can read through the description and the briefing. So if you can't remember yet, if you can't remember what you were doing in the scenario, you can refer to your description or briefing, and then you can see what's happening. So I'll just put for tutorial for YouTube. And then briefing, I'll just put drive the train. Again, a crucial part of the game plan is actually what train is the player going to be driving. So we're going to say, I'm going to say the player's driving a 465. Drive this 465 from, and then where from and to. And is there anything that's going to happen en route? Are you going to have track works, which I'll teach you how to do. 465. But this is going to be from Swanley to Rochester. So from Swanley to Rochester. You can be a bit more specific in what you write in your description and your briefing, but this is just for the purposes of getting something down so we know what's happening. Right, this is the author. So who made the scenario? Just if you're releasing, this isn't essential. Some of this stuff, this bit we're working through right now isn't essential. The name obviously is, but basically, if you don't really see the author, you don't really see anywhere that says the author anymore. You used to be able to see it in the build menu, but I don't think you even see that now. So you don't have to put this down, but if you want to and you're releasing it to Steam, I just would recommend it. So I'll just put in Merlin the Lion. Oh no, I think I can't spell Merlin Lion. Right. And then start location, again, not compulsory, but I'll just put it in. I don't actually think this has any effect. Date. This really isn't visible in the game. All it says is on the HUD you can see the date and when you're choosing the scenario. But I'm going to make it, what's today? Today's the 19th. When's this video coming out? This video's coming out on Wednesday, so that's... I'll just make it the 23rd, because that's when this video should be coming out. What's 2? 20... 22. Difficulty. So 1 is 2 green bars. 2 is 3 yellow bars. 3 is 4 red bars, and 4 is 5 dark red bars. We're going to make this a difficulty 1. No, we're going to make it 2, because we're going to have trackside works. Right, duration, this is important, but we don't know the duration of the scenario yet. If you're wondering what the duration does, is basically, it's almost like a timer. And so you set the duration to however long, the reason we can't do this now is because we haven't got a timetable. So you look at your timetable of the player train, and so you look at the timetable of the player train and you work out how long does this timetable allow from first stop to last stop. Then you round it up, let's say to the nearest 10. Round it up to 10, not down, because if you round it down, then what happens is if the duration is shorter than how long it takes for the player to do the scenario, they only get the score. They only get the score for however long they've been doing the duration. However much, they only get the score that they obtained in the duration. So if they get points outside of that, they unfortunately lose those when they finish the scenario. Time, I'm going to keep it at 12 o'clock, but you can change this. I would recommend changing it now, because if you don't, then when you have all your trains and you realise you haven't changed the time, then you have to go, you go and change the time, but then you have to work through each train and change its start time. Otherwise it just sits and waits. And if you've, let's say, made it start at 1 o'clock, but all the trains start times are 12 o'clock because the scenario used to start at 12, then the trains will be waiting 21 hours, or 21 hours, because this needs to be done 24-hour clock. So I'm going to leave it at 12 o'clock. Weather, you've got a list of weathers that you can have. Seasons, this is the type of train, just leave that on all. Now, we don't really need to tick any of these boxes. So this one is for simple controls. So if you wanted the player to be using simple controls, then you tick that. If you wanted to have it so that they were using simple controls, they have to use when they go into the scenario, it's simple controls, and then vice versa for the expert controls, which are what most people drive on the normal controls. Then this is one we are going to enable, which most scenarios have, and that is force cab camera. What that does is it doesn't force you to be in the cab for the whole time, but what it does is rather than starting the player in the outside view, view 2, key 2 key, it starts in the cab view, 1 key, and then you still can do all that stuff. That's rolling start, and then, which we don't need to worry about. And then this is career scoring. We won't worry about that. Most people don't touch that. You only really need to change stuff in here based on the amount of stops you have, but again, I'll do that later. Right, now you can click off here and that goes. So as I was saying earlier, that thing turned yellow because this thing turned yellow because we were hovering our mouse over it. So if you click it, it turns red, and if you click off it, it's yellow again. And then I'm gonna go. So moving about in the editor is like moving about in the free view 8 key when you're playing the game. So basically it's quite simple. Up arrow to go forwards, down arrow to go backwards, left arrow to go left, right arrow to go right. If you press shift, you go faster, and if you press control, it changes it so it's going in a different direction. Anyway, that's enough for today's tutorial. First thing I'm going to do is teach you how to save. Now that's very easy. You press F2 and then it saves, and then to come out of it you just press drive, wait for it to load, and then press escape and then quit. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. to see the next video, which will be when we place the player train down in the editor. See you then.